Welcome to Blood Moon Milk, the astrology show that comes out every full moon and new moon to help you on your mindfulness, meditation, and manifestation journey. If you're new here, I'm your host, Aurora, and I've been studying astrology since way back in 2008 and started this show back in 2018. I also write the Daily Dose newsletter that you can subscribe to, sign up for to get a daily dose of me and my astrological insights in your inbox. And this episode is all about the new moon in Aquarius that is coming up quickly on January 29th. It's just around the corner. So let's get into it. There's so much going on, and I've talked kind of at length on various other shows and on social media about how just transformational this year is going to be. 2025 is probably the most intense year, astrologically speaking, that I've ever seen. And so I want to help you navigate all of that. Um, so that's why I do this show. I want to give everybody a heads up about some of the changes that are coming on a planetary level and also give you some tools to help navigate it so it's not so overwhelming and not so surprising when things just change rapidly, because I think we're already seeing it. We're nearing the end of January. We're only a month in and it feels like the longest month ever. That's partially because Mars is retrograde. And whenever Mars is retrograde, things just feel very slow, and intense and kind of like we're walking through molasses a little bit. Um, but I want to talk about this new moon. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the chart. Um, and we'll just get into the astrology. I love being able to focus on the astrology. I've got a bunch of dogs with me. I'm like in a room with three dogs right now, so there might be some furry friend dog noises. Let me move this camera a little bit so I can open up my astrology screen. And if you don't know already, you can watch along. Either on Spotify, you can watch the video version of the podcast, or on YouTube. Also, it should be over up on gnostictv.com as well. So you can see what it is that I'm talking about. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing my screen and we'll get into it. Okay. So sharing now. All right. So here we go. This is the chart for this new moon. It happens at uh January 29th, 2025, which is a Wednesday at 7:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, this new moon is conjunct the sun. They're both at 9 degrees Aquarius. And 9 degrees Aquarius is pretty interesting energy. It's 9 degrees is the degree of Sagittarius, so it's philosophical to a certain degree. Um, and so it's it likes to think about the meaning behind things and aligning meaning with actions and taking actions that feel aligned. And so it's a lot of Sagittarian themes that are kind of underlying this rebirth, this regeneration of these Aquarian themes. And remember, Aquarius is the sign most associated with youth, with revolution, with high-tech advancements, and humanitarianism. And I think if you are paying attention at all, that these things are already feeling very much sort of like in the ethers, in the zeitgeist right now. You know, with whatever happened with TikTok happened, social media is certainly like up in the air for discussion and reformation. Because I really don't think a lot of people like what's going on with it. In America, we're borderline at the point where we have state-run social media. And so I think we're starting to look for ways to transform the way we connect with each other online. Through new sites, new platforms, things like Blue Sky, for example, and exploring opportunities for us to connect with other like minds for humanitarian causes, because now more than ever, I think community is going to be really, really, really important. And so we have to find our people, find our groups of people to come together, to work together to build that brighter, better future because this is the work we're going to have to be doing um, because, you know, we're just being called to. We're on the cusp of this golden age, but in order to be able to do that, we have to tear down what's no longer working. And I do get the sense that based on the astrology that I'm looking at, I apologize if I'm sniffling. I'm a little under the weather right now, so I'm not feeling my best, but I'm trying to rest and take care of myself. So I apologize if I'm a little sniffly or sound a little less than stellar during this episode. But back to this Aquarius new moon. Aquarius is the sign of hopes, of dreams, of community and humanitarianism. And so this is the opportunity for this dramatic whole new rebirthing process after a sort of dramatic death and learning to, philosophical death and learning to reinvent ourselves with a new, philosophically minded perspective that directs our actions, kind of putting our money where our mouth is. And I think this lends itself to further developing the Aquarian themes in a richer, more impactful, more profound, meaningful way. So the new moon here really does represent a seed moment, if you will, for the evolution of consciousness. And just to think about that for a second, um, it calls for aligning ourselves with our individual intentions, and that'll be different for every single person, like what you feel called to do, where you think your energies are best applied. And it does take all of us sort of stepping into our true place of alignment for what it is that we're good at, what our gifts are, and also giving to those who are less fortunate, helping others out who are in need. This is all very much the the energy of the Aquarian age, which we're going to be in for some time, but we're right at the beginning of it right now. And so we're feeling those things incredibly intensely. So, this is a time to plant those ideas and to nurture those concepts that might just be in those early germination phases, um, because it's just so incredibly important. So, it's also this new moon here at 9 degrees, along with the sun. It's conjunct the first house on the ascendant of this new moon, which I think is kind of really telling. We've got Mercury here and Pluto conjunct in the 12th house of this new moon's chart. And we'll get to those planets in a minute, but that's sort of the subconscious drivers for what we are being called to do now and what we're being motivated to do at the moment. So, um, as always, take a look at where 9 degrees Aquarius falls in your own chart. And, you know, look at which house it's falling into for you. Um, and if you don't know what that is and you'd like to have a session, I can help you with that. Go over to bloodmoonmilk.com, click on book a session, and I will reach out personally. And I'll get in touch and book a Zoom time for you that works for both of us. Um, so just head over there and get on my calendar that way if you would like to look at the incredible astrology that's going on this year to get some guidance. And every session is recorded, and I give you your personalized transits for the whole year if you get one of those 2025 sessions. That's not to say you can't see me more than once, but I do recommend that everybody has at least one astrology session this year because there is just so much change happening this year. Um, so let's sort of talk about what's going on a personal level together. If you would like some help with that, let me know. Okay, so back to this new moon. Um, think about and really consider how you might become a channel for higher consciousness to flow into the world because that's really part of this astrological picture for this particular new moon here, right at the cusp of the ascendant in the 12th house of this new moon's house, um, chart rather. Um, so that's just where the sun and the moon are. But let's look at all of the other planets. What do they have to say? So Mercury, he is freshly in the sign of Aquarius. So he's got a lot to say. He has a kind of a mission sort of newly on his mind. And he is conjunct. He is conjunct Pluto at 1 degrees. So this is powerful rhetoric coming through. And regardless of which side of the aisle you sit on, politically speaking, I think that we can observe this regardless of our own political leanings. We are observing powerful political messages being pushed out there that have some sort of idea about what the future is. Um, and so I think that that's observable. You know, that is very tangible, and we're going to be feeling it. We've been feeling it already, but it's going to ramp up even more so during this new moon. But we can use it to our benefit now. So that's the key. Oh, hi, Pickle. Sorry, I've got a little dog right here who would need some affection. Here, come on. Got so many dogs like around me just off the off camera. So um hold on. Let me just adjust. One moment. Pickle, come on. Okay. She just had a little surgery yesterday, so she's feeling extra cuddly and sort of needy, and I need to just account for that. All right, so let's get back to it. So Mercury is pretty happy during this new moon. In addition to being conjunct Pluto here at 1/2 degrees of Aquarius, where those two planets are, he Mercury really does love to be in an air sign. Mercury loves the intellect and the energy of the mind, right? He takes these ideas and he embodies that wisdom that just is ideology and is the power of an idea and of a concept. It has no physical form, but we have we can see and observe the effects that an idea can have when it takes root and when it starts to really establish itself and gain momentum. Then we start to see physical manifestations of that idea. And so I think that's what we're going to be seeing now, along with Pluto conjunct Mercury in this 12th house of this new moon. There's subconscious ideas that are happening that are, sorry, I have another dog that needs to come snuggle. Are you coming? No. Okay. Sorry. Um, come here. Just come here. Come on. Come here. Oh, oh, okay. All right. Now we're all here. And we should be settled in for a second. So, um, yeah. So Pluto conjunct Mercury really does give power to these ideological concepts. And it could be very much on the subconscious level right now. But this is powerful intellectual energy that is working with this new moon to help us conceptualize, to meditate, and to usher in the concepts of ways that we can come together for the good of humanity. This is intense, rapid fire energy. And while the new moon is going on, we might not observe the intensity because the new moon acts like a volume dial for the energy, but rest assured that this intensity is there. It's likely highly observable. However, if it's not, I think all you need to do is just open your eyes because it's happening. Um, so just know that like there's this bubbling of this I almost want to say like conspiratorial sort of energy that's happening between Pluto and Mercury now. Um, that is sort of working together in tandem to sort of plant these seeds of some kind of revolution. Um, Aquarian energy really is about what is good for the masses. It's grassroots up power and power assertion. Um, it it really does seek to overthrow all that Capricornian energy, but we're just at the beginnings of it. So we still have a lot of Capricorn themed establishments that are in power and in effect. But as this transit moves on, as Pluto kind of makes his way through the sign of Aquarius, things are going to change a little bit. Um, and it could be it could be quick or it could be slow. But I think right now, during this new moon specifically, we're gonna see forces coming together, like magnetized, like because that's what Pluto does. It is magnetic, intense, rapid fire energy. So just a heads up. I mean, this is going to be pretty intense. It'll sort of take off like a shot as this new moon develops and starts to grow. We'll feel it more and more and more. This new moon might actually be the lull in a very intense year because we have some planets retrograde. But as those planets go direct and make some ingresses into new signs, we're going to feel a lot of change happening almost overnight. So, um, Mercury in Aquarius does do a really good job of connecting our rational mind to universal sort of cosmic sources of intelligence. And at this degree, at the second degree, it really does emphasize innovative thinking and communication that bridges the personal with the cosmic. So I think meditation is incredibly important, more so now than ever. And so if you want to connect with this energy of Mercury and Aquarius, think about the ancient Greek god Mercury, the messenger of the gods, helping to deliver insights to you from the stars. Maybe just close your eyes and, see him with his winged sandals coming down, and maybe he's handing you a letter or an envelope and read it. Like, what does that say? What does that look like to you? Because it's probably pretty intense and possibly transformative, maybe a little bit wild. Um, and it's probably pretty powerful. Okay, so next, let's look at Venus. She is right here at 25 degrees of Pisces, and she's conjunct Neptune, and she's in the second house of this chart. Um, and so in Pisces, Venus is exalted. And while she's conjunct Neptune, this is lovely, lovely energy. This is energy full of romance and idealism, and it wants to connect with a partner, ideally in a spiritual way, or at the very least, a mind-body connection. And it's highly creative energy as well. This is wonderful energy to plant intentions with. It's highly, highly divinely inspired energy. Um, and it's intuitive and sensual. So, um, this placement invites transcendent, I can't say it because I'm stopped up, transcendence of egotistical, uh, more base driven desires. And it's pushing that aside for things that are a little bit more ethereal and, it's more of a feeling that is ineffable, intangible, but nonetheless observable. Um, so just know that that's really juicy energy to be able to work with during this new moon. It's also almost in an out of sign um sextile, because these are almost in Aries, but they're not yet. But Aries energy and Aquarian energy works together really nicely. But it's there's this stellium in Pisces right now that is giving Pisces a lot of attention and a lot of energy between Saturn being in Pisces, Venus being in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and the North Node now in Pisces. And the North Node is almost conjunct exactly Neptune here, and Neptune is just a couple of degrees away from Venus. So we have this sense of destiny. We have this sense of love and romance and spiritual connection going on during this new moon. So I really wanted to make this episode a little bit more in advance than I was able to give people kind of the opportunity to get in their head, like their minds straight about what it is they want to manifest. Because I do think that this is going to be an incredible opportunity to plant those seeds of intention, to be reflective, and to kind of, write your wish list to the universe about what it is you want to develop and to usher into your life, and what feels good to you. And it really can just be a feeling. And if you can bring that feeling into your body and sit with it, that's enough. That's a form of meditation that can really help to rewire those neural pathways, that network of synapses that can feel like it's stuck in a rut sometimes. But if you can just sit quietly and try to live in a state of feeling a certain way, that is a really powerful form of meditation that can help manifest that same feeling in a more tangible, more observable, more concrete way, throughout your life if you consistently work on it. So I think this is a great time to implement that um, into your practice. So next up, let's look at Mars. Excuse me. Mars is still retrograde, like I said earlier. He's really uncomfortable right now during this new moon. He's retrograde at 21 degrees in the sign of Cancer. He's in the sixth house of this new moon. So first of all, I say Mars is uncomfortable mainly because he is the planet of action. He likes to have inspired action, move forward in some way, with clarity and conviction. But in the sign of Cancer, he's really introspective. He's really kind of quiet. He's introverted. He's ruminative. He's really concerned with security and a sense of personal safety, and can be pretty easily triggered. He's really sensitive right now. So just be aware that there's this real tangible sense of lethargy in the air. Um, and things that would normally not take very long or might not be a big deal could be taking longer than normal because we all have Mars retrograde somewhere in our chart. So he's just slowing things down. Um, and if you have personal placements in the last half of the sign, where Mars is currently transiting, you could be feeling this more personally. Like things could really be moving slowly and it could be just really uncomfortable for you. And you might wonder um, why you feel this way. But this is a totally natural way to feel while Mars is retrograde, especially if you are a Cancer sun, moon, rising, or have other placements. Mercury also in Cancer can be feeling the impacts of this pretty heavily and be pretty frustrating. So just be aware of that. Um, Mars in Cancer is really mama bear energy, and specifically mama bear who is provoked by, somebody who's pissing her off, and she's concerned about the safety of her baby bears. So, avoid poking the bear. It could also just be a good time to set boundaries, whether those boundaries are with yourself or with somebody else, somebody that you just need to, create a buffer with. It could be a good time to redefine our personal priorities that could be playing a prominent role in our motivations and actions, right now. But luckily, this during this new moon, Mars is trine uh to Venus here. Excuse me, I'm so congested. Um, which is really, really beneficial. And he's also sextile to Uranus. So this can add a bit of spontaneity and some, an unexpected sparkle to life. Things that you kind of didn't see coming could kind of happen when you sort of least expect it and make things just a little bit more exciting. So maybe just be open to invitations right now. If your boundaries are feeling like they're safe and the opportunity feels like a good one, don't be too afraid to open that door. Um, be aware of any emotional patterns you feel like you might have to confront, to be able to act with a clear sense of alignment and integrity while Mars is retrograde, because that's just going to help you to make clearer choices, and decisions about what you want moving forward and help you to get clear on what those intentions you want to plant are, you know? So, just really be cognizant of that. Next, let's look at Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of abundance, wisdom, and joy, and he is retrograde. He's right here at the sign of Gemini at 11 degrees, and he's making some pretty like interesting aspects too during this new moon, which is it's nice. So Jupiter's also pretty uh unhappy at the moment, but he's like the happiest of unhappy planets. Um, he doesn't like to be retrograde either, and he really doesn't love to be in the planet or in the sign of Gemini. It's as far away as he can get from his home sign of Sagittarius. Um, and so he's doubly debilitated right now, but that's okay. It's just a phase. And it just further underscores the vibe now of just being a little slow and being a little more reflective and uh possibly even self-centered, to not in a bad way, but just really focusing on the self and internalizing, what our priorities are. But while he is in Gemini, he's really curious. He wants to know what's going on with other people. But that can also kind of spread his energy really thin and kind of scatter some of this energy a little, like scatter some of this energy to the wind in a way where it's not as effective. Um, but he is harmonizing with this new moon. He's only 2 degrees away from where it'd be perfectly trine. So I do think that there is the real possibility of any manifestations or changes that we want to make right now being being impactful, because Jupiter is sort of on our side here, and helping us to make big, abundant changes, if we are working with that energy. Um, so, just know that because he's retrograde, it can be a little bit challenging. Things like meeting deadlines or staying focused can be difficult right now, in general. But I think, if you can maybe set a timer to meditate, write down a list, burn a candle, and feel some positive feelings in your body, that can actually go a long, long way. And just, write in your journal what it is that you want, and then 6 months from now, take note of how this might have developed or shown up. Observe where it has shown up, because it will in some way. Um, but Jupiter in Gemini is a little superficial. It's not deep energy. It's lighthearted. It's funny. It likes to keep things easy breezy, which can honestly be such a refreshing sensibility right now, because things can feel very intense. So he can be like the sort of the lighthearted comedian trying to help us all out by giving us a little dose of laughter, to help us, get through some of these dark times by being that sort of source of joy, that little giggle that makes like shifts the mood from being, a bit grim to being, like having a little bit of levity. So this isn't necessarily a bad thing, just because he's not super happy while he's in Gemini or being retrograde. But I do think that he can help our manifestations rapidly show up now. So work with him, work with him. Okay, next, let's look at Saturn. Saturn is the planet of karma, of time, and he is in Pisces. It's a little bit more than halfway through the sign of Pisces at 17 degrees. He's loosely conjunct both Venus and Neptune. Um, so he's a little oddly placed right now. And Saturn in Pisces is working to teach us to translate the ineffable, intangible, spiritual, divine energy of the universe into something tangible, into something that is really uh, observable and practiced. And the example that comes to mind is a musician writing a song. And at first, maybe it's just the idea of the song. Maybe it's just lyrics, or maybe it's just humming a little tune, but going through the process of writing the melody down and then writing the lyrics down and then recording it and then having a finished piece of music that you can share with other people. Um, that is an analogy of Saturn and Pisces. It's working with that energy, that idea, that concept. And you can, it might not be a song literally, it could be an idea. It could be your spiritual practice. It could be a painting you want to make or something creative that you want to birth into the world. Saturn in Pisces wants to give you the tools to show up for that creativity in a responsible way that so that you are honoring the inspiration because I think there are people out there, not just me, but inspiration might actually be sort of alive or at least somewhat conscious, where it's looking for a conduit. It's looking for the best person to kind of, come and sit on their shoulder and give that, be the muse for, so that that idea can really take on a life of its own. And so I think Saturn here is helping us. And it's not always an easy, I mean, being a creative person is a difficult thing. I'm somebody who speaks from experience. I have an art degree. I'm working on my second one now. And it is not always easy to put a feeling into something tangible or observable. But that's what Saturn is teaching us now. And I think it can bring us together in such a beautiful way that really does help to build communities. And it's just we need art. We need art in our societies to help us identify our own feelings, our own shared experiences. And it's been something that's been sadly the budgets and funding has been cut for the arts for decades now. And I think it's really contributed to an uptick in violent crimes and mental health problems because people don't have the tools, the resources all the time in every community to be able to express themselves creatively in a way that is beneficial and isn't detrimental to their lives. So I encourage you all to embrace and support the arts in some way or another. So during this new moon, though, he is like in a slight awkward position to Mercury. He's making a semi-square to Mercury and also Pluto, but it's exact with Mercury. So this can feel like a blockage. The semi-squares are uh they're minor transits, but it can feel like there's some sort of like clog in the hose. So if you feel like what you're working on isn't coming through clearly, there might just need to be some minor adjustments made. So don't be afraid to talk about the things you want to manifest or bring into your lives with your circle, your people who are in your community and on your side, because maybe there's somebody who can give you a suggestion through conversation, just to make some slight tweak that could really help that manifestation express itself clearly in an easy way. And I do think that this is a really positive new moon for manifestation. Um, so just be aware of that. Next, let's look at Uranus. Oh God, I'm so stuffed up. I'm so sorry, you guys. Um, Thanks for putting up with me. Uranus is in Taurus and he's continuing his retrograde cycle. So he's at 23 degrees Taurus right now. And so he's right here on the cusp of the third and fourth house of this new moon. And he's like he's making some beneficial aspects. He's working with Mars in a retrograde way. So he's adding some spontaneity and some unexpected, you know, fairy dust here to challenge us, help shake up our comfort zones a little bit. Um, and so that's positive. Um, and he's also working with the asteroid Pallas here too. So he's perfectly trying to Pallas, which is in Capricorn at 23 degrees. Oh God, I feel so gross. I'm sorry, guys. You have to listen to me. Um, but 23 degrees Capricorn, so it's Earth trine. This is a good time to make plans, and to build something tangible with these ideas that are coming through in the sign of Aquarius. So just, you know, any little sparks of inspiration that come through now that feel realistic, like write them down. Make sure you're taking action on them. Um, Uranus retrograde in Taurus tends to disrupt outdated uh views of our collective values or material possessions, and it encourages us to align more with the Earth's evolving energy. Um, and at 23 degrees, this placement highlights breakthroughs in how we connect with nature and resources, emphasizing a sustainability and an innovation in the way that we connect with synergy. So, I mean, Uranus's energy really is pretty binary. It's on, it's off, it's hot, it's cold, and it really is like a bolt of lightning striking us. So there could be these aha moments during this new moon, especially if you have personal planets at or near 23 degrees of the earth signs or water signs even. Um, so just, be available for that to show up in your life. Um, okay. Next, let's look at Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces along with Venus. As I mentioned earlier, he's at 27 degrees here. So he's conjunct Venus, and he is also conjunct the North Node of Destiny. So this is beautiful, beautiful, divinely inspired energy. That North Node of Destiny is interesting. It really is calling on us and challenging us to have faith, and have faith in the universe and have faith in ourselves and our abilities to connect with each other creatively, through art, through music, through spirituality. So all of these things are really, really positive, and just represent a powerful opportunity to cultivate something more meaningful and deeper and, um, more long-lived that feels cosmically aligned right now. So just be aware of that. But also be aware that Neptune is also about a certain amount of disillusionment. So things are not what they seem now either. And there is a lot of rhetoric out there, a lot of actions, especially in the media, people saying this and that. And you can discern what those things are for yourselves. This is not the platform for me to decide that for you. But be aware that when Neptune is at those last degrees of Pisces, there is more disillusionment and more people who are apt to fall into a place of just not of trusting the wrong people. And it can be a rude awakening. People who put their faith into some place maybe they shouldn't have. Um, Places that don't have their best interests in mind. And so be very skeptical and use your critical thinking facilities to your benefit. Don't make huge investments and stuff now that because you heard it somewhere from some source that's, you know, that you that somebody says you should trust. Don't believe anybody. Trust your own instincts. Trust your own intuition. Because I think really, if this energy was a person right now, this is like the Wizard of Oz, like the wizard behind the curtain. There's nothing to see here. There's definitely a show being put on, that is trying to make us believe like a certain kind of rhetoric, right? And so whether or not that rhetoric is true, um, is is kind of up for debate. So unfortunately, at this degree, we're all sort of at the mercy of his ability to disillusion us. Um, so just be aware of that. Ask your guidance, ask your spirit guides for guidance, and take some time to be in nature, to connect with your spirit, with your energy, and to meditate. And I think that can help you to stay grounded, and not get so caught up and overwhelmed with, the news and media cycles. Um, so there can be beautiful illusions that happen now as well, but just be aware there is just very real element out there that is working very hard to create a very particular illusion that things are going to be a certain way, and it's just not the way it's going to be. So, um, avoid making long-term expensive contracts that are legally binding right now, because there will be better aspects for that later. I just don't think things are what they seem, and like, just not all that glitters is gold at the moment. So just be aware of that. Okay, powering through. I feel like I need like a big hot bowl of soup and a nap. um Lastly but not least, we have Pluto in Aquarius, where he's been. He famously moved into Aquarius last November, and we've been feeling his impact there ever since on November 19th. So he's at 1 degree Mercury. He's adding some intensity to this new moon's movements. And it's with Mercury here, there tends to be a little bit of obsessive thought, that is certainly, a potentiality here. So mental activities could be working overtime, and it could be difficult to quiet the mind now, which is one reason why I'm urging you all to like take time out to meditate, take time to try to quiet the mind and just be in your body and feel a sense of peace within yourself. Um, so uh it's it's the mental faculties are working overtime for sure. But it's in the 12th house, so this could even be subconscious. This could be our subconscious fears and concerns kind of working us up, and we might not even be aware of it. We might be better at observing it in people around us than we are and being able to see it in ourselves. So just, be mindful of that. All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to give you some questions for mindfulness, meditation, and manifestation. Take a moment to get quiet and get situated. Here are some questions for mindfulness, for meditation, for manifestation during this new moon in Aquarius. So for the Aries risings, this new moon would be in your 11th house, most likely. Think about your intentions that you can set to strengthen your connection with your community and your social circle. You know, maybe envision yourself as a beacon of innovation and collaboration. How could you share your unique vision that could help to inspire others or help you connect with other like-minded people? So for the Taurus risings, this new moon would be in your 10th house. So how can you align your career goals with your authentic self and your long-term aspirations? Just consider that and really examine what feelings arise and how you might be able to embody that success in your energy through your work. Okay, for my Gemini risings, you guys have got Jupiter in your first house. You guys are getting pretty energized right now. Um, this new moon would be in your ninth house. What new knowledge or experiences might you explore that could expand your worldview and deepen your understanding of life? Think about what comes up for you. So, Cancer risings, you guys might be really tired right now because the new moon is in your eighth house. But Mars is retrograde in your first house, so you could just be not feeling like you've got the energy you normally have. But don't worry, that'll change. Um, Ask yourself how you could transform your this new moon, by the way, being your eighth house. Sorry about that. Um, Ask yourself, shh, shush, we've got meditation to do. Got a dog grumpy over here. Um, Ask yourself how you can transform your relationship with shared resources or with intimacy or deep emotional connections. And envision yourself shedding an old skin like a snake to reveal a more empowered, shiny, new, buff version of yourself. And what do you need to release to be able to fully embrace that kind of transformation? All right. Leo risings. This new moon's going to be in your seventh house of relationships and partnerships. And ask yourself what intentions you could set that could help to cultivate more harmony and authenticity in your partnerships. Envision yourself in a really fulfilling, harmonious, balanced relationship where both parties thrive. And how can you nurture this dynamic in your life? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What do you need? And make moves to make that happen. So, Virgo rising people, this new moon is going to be in your sixth house of everyday work. Um, Ask yourself how you can create a healthier balance between my daily routines and your overall sense of well-being. This is also your house of health. So, I visualize your ideal day that's filled with healthy habits that support your physical, your mental, emotional health. It's that full mind, body, spirit connection. What small changes might you be able to make that can bring this vision to life? Um, Sorry, I've got like a little dog that is sleeping and making these like really cute little barks. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but if you hear it, that's what that is. It's just Pickle having dreams. Um, okay, for my Libra risings out there listening, this new moon is in your fifth house. This is the house of creativity and passions, love and romance, and also hobbies and children. So ask yourself what you can do to embrace and bring more joy and self-expression into your life. What does that feel like? What does that look like? What does that feel like in your body? How do you light up the room when you get to talk about these things? And what do you want to do? Plant those intentions now. Okay, for my Scorpio risings, this new moon is in your fourth house of home. How can you nurture your emotional foundations and create a sanctuary within your home? Picture your ideal safe space and what elements you bring in to help you feel supported and comfortable in your environment. Okay, for my Sagittarius risings, this new moon is going to be in your third house. So ask yourself, and third house is communications and travel, short-term travel. How can you communicate your thoughts and ideas more effectively and more authentically uh, throughout your life? So visualize yourself speaking with clarity and confidence. What messages do you feel called to share, and who do you need to share them with? Who needs to hear what you have to say? Um, okay, for my Capricorn risings, you guys work so hard. Here is your mindfulness question. This new moon is in your second house of earned income and values. So ask yourselves what steps you can take to align yourselves with your financial goals and your personal values right now. Make sure that you're taking time to envision yourself surrounded by abundance and security. And take note of the resources or skills you already have to capitalize on that to build this reality in real life. For my Aquarius risings, this new moon is in your first house. This is a big deal. Uh, Ask yourself how you can embrace your individuality and show up authentically in the world because you are all unique and the world needs to hear your unique voices. Take a minute to envision yourself stepping into a bright, beautiful, welcoming, warm spotlight. What aspects of your identity do you want to celebrate and share and connect with other people in? Aquarius, this is all about hopes, dreams, and communities. So make sure that you're connecting with that during this new moon. Okay, Pisces rising. Ask yourself, this is in your 12th house. This is the house of rest and meditation and also healing. So ask yourself how you can deepen your spiritual practice and connect with that inner sanctuary, that inner world. Picture yourself floating on a very calm body of water in a lake somewhere, and just know that in that water is us, it's just infinite possibilities, infinite ways of connecting and feeling, and you're safe here. What insights arise when you just let go and trust the process and feel yourself being supported by the universe? Okay, that's it for me. I'm gonna go get some soup. I'm so sorry I sound so stuffed up. I hope you all have a wonderful new moon. Get in touch. If you want a session, I'd be happy to see you. I'm still doing 2025 sessions for $225. There's just so much change in the year this year, and I really want to be able to offer that opportunity to as many people as possible. Head over to bloodmoonmilk.com. Thank you for listening. My theme music is written by the very talented Adam McIntyre. And until next time, I wish you all the best the stars have to offer. And thanks for listening.